There we go. There we go. We are excited. We are here with Story Crossroads with our series of Language of Story. And we've done many different languages. And this time we are doing Korean. Very exciting. So we've done in the past American Sign Language. We've done Portuguese. We've done German and Hungarian. But 2022, this May 12th of 2022, is for Korean. We are so pleased to have our special guest today. We have Dr. Jeongae, but sometimes it's said the other way too. It's Dr. Jeongae Park. And what's exciting is that she has written a lot of books for children and young adult. She actually has written for all ages, really. She works at the university now, and she is wonderful with Korean literature and creative writing. But there was something that I was told that is a great welcoming thing to say. So I'm going to attempt to do it right now. 안녕하세요. Is that right?
Perfect.
And so that means hello in Korean. But of course, I got to still practice and do my best on that. So, so we welcome everyone with that. What's going to happen is we are going to have Dr. Park present, and then towards the end, that's when we will get to the questions and answers. We did get some questions ahead of time, so we will do those. And as you listen in, feel free to make comments in the stream and make sure that we know that you're there. Sometimes people watch and don't do anything in that stream, but it would be wonderful if you could say hello, maybe even where you're from. That's always nice. And we're very excited here. I also want to recognize that we have our American Sign Language interpreters. So you can see Amy and Heather will be helping us out today. And that is always thrilling. So what I'm going to do now is turn the time over to Dr. Parr. So out here, we can put our hands in the air, but for you in the stream, you can go ahead and put applause or hurrah or huzzah or whatever your way is to show appreciation. Please do so in the stream now.
Hello. It is a great honor for me to be part of this program. Nice to meet you online. Okay, let's get started. Although Korean is closely related to the Altaic language family, it is basically an isolated language. Hangul, the Korean alphabet, was created in the 15th century by King Sejong the Great, who led the national project of creating a new alphabet with the smartest scholars of that time. Before Hangul, Chinese characters were used. The Korean language and Chinese characters don't match. So the illiteracy rate in Korea was very high during the time of King Sejong. I will show you some image. Yeah, Korean alphabet, and upper one is Hangul, below one is Chinese character. They don't match. While Hangul is an easy to learn alphabet, Korean, which has a history of 5,000 years, is not an easy language to learn. First of all, like the relationship between Latin and English, Chinese has had a great influence on Korean and still does to this day. It is difficult to learn a language by examining its etymology. This is also the case in Japanese. Unlike English, Korean isn't a well-known language. Thanks to BTS, a world-famous K-pop group, I am glad that the charm of the Korean language seems to be growing in popularity. Now let's talk about Korean folktales. Most Korean folktales start like this. 옛날 호랑이 담배 먹던 시절에. Long, long ago, when tigers smoked cigarettes. This image, you can imagine smoking tiger. Long, long ago, when tigers smoked cigarettes, this phrase immediately takes the listener to the world of stories. It conjures up a fantastic time and space in which a tiger can communicate freely with humans, and anything illogical can happen. As you know, There aren't many differences between animals and humans in the world of folk tales. Humans could transform into animals at any time they wanted, and animals could also turn into humans. They all use the same language. At that time, words had such magical powers that they came to life in an instant and made what they wanted. There were times when strange things happened because of the words that came out unintentionally. Logical explanation is impossible, but things were like that in the old days when tigers smoked cigarettes. When tigers smoke cigarettes, this phrase shows the deep relationship between tigers and Koreans, although the tiger is extinct in Korea now. There are 12 important animals in Oriental thought, which defines this year, 2022, as the year of the tiger. Koreans have exchanged phrases such as roar like a tiger in the new year, or happy tiger's year, or may you were given tiger power, along with various tiger emoticons on various SNS platforms. Yeah, kind of this image. Happy tiger's ear, pretty cute, right? This phenomenon shows that the image of a tiger had changed to a friendly and positive thing for modern people who are not aware of the dangers of tigers. Looking back on the long history of Koreans and tigers, this change of image is actually surprising. According to records, in the 18th century, there were about 10,000 tiger hunters called Chakkogun in the country. To mark the Year of the Tiger, the agency to which BTS belongs released a new album and a webtoon series named Chakko at the same time. Yeah, webtoon cover and album cover. Chakko means tiger hunting. In Isabella Bird Bishop's book, Korea and Her Neighbors, you can find Koreans spend half a year chasing tigers and the other half visiting condolences to people who have been eaten by tigers. In Korea, the Hermit Nation, William Elliot Griffiths wrote, Koreans hunt tigers for half a year and tigers hunt Koreans for the other half a year. Bishop and her book, Griffiths and his book. The substantive danger of the tiger to humans and the fear of humans position the tiger as a metaphor for the power of harsh politics or kings in the secular world, and as a god or a representative of the gods in the transcendental world. A famous Korean historian argued that tiger is a symbol of expelling evil things, a symbol of protection, a mountain god, and a divine beast that symbolizes positive, strong energy of Korea. The mascot of the 1988 Seoul Olympic, Hodori, is a representative example of the tiger being used as a symbol of Korea. 호돌이. You can imagine. Interestingly, the opposite image of tigers, for example, that tigers are stupid and easily deceived in spite of their size and strength, has also prevailed due to popular folk tales like Tiger and Dried Persimmon, Tiger Tricked by Rabbit, Fox Using the Tiger's Prestige. Tiger and Dried Persimmon, Tiger Tricked by Rabbit, Fox Using the Tiger's Prestige. However, it is said that at the center of the mind that ridicules and caricatures a tiger, there is a vague fear of an object as frightening as a tiger, or even scarier than that. That is human psychology to control anxiety about the unknown. There are statistics that folktales featuring a tiger as the main character account for 13% of all Korean oral legend. Broadly speaking, from the story of the tiger as a real animal, the story of a tiger who uses tricks to satisfy its desires and instincts, and even to the story of a tiger with divinity and transcendence, the level of the subject is very wide and varied. If there is a representative story that will fall into the category of tigers who use tricks to satisfy their desires and instincts, brother and sister who became the sun and moon can be cited. Let me tell the story. Long, long ago, when tigers smoked cigarettes, a mother made a hard living with her little brother and sister. One day, she went to work in the village and came back with a big rice cake on her head to feed her children. As she was about to go over hill, a big tiger appeared and asked for the rice cake. Hey, if you give me the rice cake on your head, I won't eat you. She could not help but give it to the tiger. And as she passed another hill, the tiger appeared again. Hey, if you give me one of your arms, I won't eat you. She had no choice. Then on the road, the tiger asked for her other arm, and in the end, ate all over her. And after putting on the mother's clothes and tying a towel on its head, the tiger came to visit the mother's children. Babies, mommy's here, so open the door. That's not my mother's voice. I'm so tired and thirsty from working in the field, facing the cold wind. So open the door. Then put your hand through this hole in the door. The tiger did it. It doesn't look like my mother's hand. It's too rough and hairy. Because it is covered with bits of straw and remnants of dry grass from working in the field. However, when the door was not opened, the tiger crashed through the door. The children were terrified, but they came up with a trick and said they wanted to poop. Poop in your room. It stinks when you poop in the room. Then poop in the yard. It's dirty too. Then go out and poop. Then the children quickly got out of the house and climbed up the tall zelkova tree next to the house. The tiger at the house was tired of waiting and went out to find the children. There was a large spring under the zelkova tree, and the images of the siblings on the tall branch of the tree were shimmering in the water. The tiger thought the children were drowning and said, "Do you want me to get you out with a bamboo strainer or a calabash gold?" Bamboo strainer, calabash gold. The children burst out laughing, and Tiger looked up at the tree. "How did you guys climb the tree?" "I came up with sesame oil." The clever older brother deliberately lied. Hearing this, the tiger took sesame oil from the kitchen and smeared on the wood, but it was so slippery for the tiger to climb. "Guys, how did you really get up there?" "I came up after chopping the tree with an axe." When the little sister, who knew nothing, said this, the tiger took an axe from the barn and started chopping wood and climbed step by step. The brother and sister were about to be caught by the tiger soon. They begged God to save them. "God, if you want to save us, please put down a new rope. If you want to kill us, please put down an old rope." Then a new rope came down from the sky, and the children rode it up to the sky. When the tiger saw this, he mimicked the children and prayed to God. "God, if you want to save me, put down a new rope. And if you want to kill me, put down an old rope." Then an old rope came down from the sky. The tiger, greedy for chasing after the children, hung on to the old rope and ascended to the sky, but the rope was cut. The place where the tiger fell was a sorghum field. It is said that the buttocks of a tiger were stabbed by a sorghum stalk, and after that, the sorghum stalk was stained with tiger blood and turned red. And that's why the sorghum stalk is bloody red now. In addition, it is said that the older brother became the moon and the younger sister became the sun, because she said to her brother, the night was so dark that she was afraid. The tiger in this tale shows greed to crave the children even after taking away everything the poor mother had, a big rice cake and her body. And in order to satisfy that desire, the tiger disguised itself as a mother. This folk tale was used in Ted Keller's When You Trap a Tiger, which won the Newbery Award in 2021 in the United States. I have the book. Tekela paraphrases long, long ago when tigers smoked cigarettes as long, long ago when tigers walked like humans, or long, long ago when people ruled like tigers. She uses the story in various ways to effectively convey her message. The siblings change to sisters. Their escape to the sky is transformed to immigration across the sea. And the greedy tiger symbolizes the intense desire to destroy status quo and make a leap into another world instead of persevering without question. While taking over the interest in Korean women's history from Nora Okja-Keller, who is the mother of Tekela, who wrote Comfort Women, Fox Girl, Tekela's book, and Nora Okja-Keller, her mother, Comfort Woman, Fox Girl. Tekela delicately combines the symbolism of the folktale featuring a tiger with a story of a girl's inner growth. By doing so, not only are the genre characteristics of children's books preserved, but also the aesthetic perfection is improved. In addition, unraveling the riddle of a tiger woman who was killed, imprisoned, or oppressed in the history of patriarchy is used as an allegory of an American Korean diaspora girl breaking away from the stereotype of a QAG, which means quiet Asian girl, and recovering her ferocious vital energy. The story used in this part is a bear and a tiger who want to be human, the founding myth of my country. Here it is. Long, long ago, when tigers walked like humans, Hwan-ung, the son of the sky god, always wanted to rule the earth. Then he finally came down to Taebaek Mountain with the gods of rain, wind, and clouds. One day, a bear and a tiger came to Hwan-ung and said, "We want to be human. Make us human." Then Hwan-ung gave the bear and the tiger mugwort and garlic. This is mugwort and garlic. Eat this for 100 days and do not see sunlight. The bear and the tiger went into the cave and did as Hwan-ung ordered. But the tiger could not stand it and ran away. The bear, who endured well to the end, became a woman and married Hwan-ung and gave birth to Dangun. Dangun grew up well and founded a country called Joseon, which means morning calm, the first country on the Korean peninsula. The bear could become a female human because she passed the test of patience and ordeal imposed by the male god, but the tiger did not. Thus, tigers who have been recognized as inferior beings who fail to become human beings are sometimes portrayed in Korean literature as the uncontrolled anxiety and fear of human feelings, and sometimes as dissident women who resist male-dominated society and dismantle its hypocritical system. Here, let me talk about something else, interesting discovery. In the movie Jojo Rabbit, which won the Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay, Jojo's mother, who is secretly an anti-Nazi dissident and hiding a teenage Jewish girl in the attic, says to the girl that being a woman means being able to face the eyes of a tiger. I have the shot of the film. Yeah, you look a tiger in the eye. Let's get back to the point. Ted Keller also regards the dark and painful parts of Korean modern history, including the military comfort women, as tigers we fear to face. Of course, the tiger refuses to be confined. By releasing the tiger, the girl can reach an integrated understanding of herself, decide the direction of her story, and solve the mission of growth and maturity. So, to summarize, in Korean folk tales, tigers have various important roles and connote ambivalent values. My presentation is over. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much. Everyone can put applause in there. We are going to have the question part, so don't worry, we have that too. And we are excited for all of you joining us. Now, there was a lot of tiger in there. I noticed in the stream that people were saying, yes, there's definitely a lot of tiger stories and the symbolism of that, which is really, really beautiful. Now, the first question that of course you have shared, but just to kind of go a little bit more in depth, is how were Korean folktales shared in the past? How are they shared now?
Like in other cultures, Korean folktales have also been passed from generation to generation. For example, grandparents to grandchildren. Children eat, their bodies grow, but their minds grow by listening to stories. Nowadays, in the nuclear family era, children do not live with their grandparents and have few opportunities to listen to stories told by their grandmothers. So in Korea, a beautiful story grandma project has been implemented. It's a program in which grandmothers who have been trained as storytellers go to kindergarten or elementary school to tell stories. And these days, workers in the cultural contents industry in Korea tend to actively use folktales when making movies, TV dramas, and online games.
Oh, wonderful. And we had other questions that came ahead of time as well. So our next question is, what symbols and themes are common in Korean folktales and why? Obviously, we've definitely heard about the tiger, but I'm sure there's more that you can tell us as well. So tell us a little more.
Yeah, let's talk about something else. Although foxes also show cunning and cleverness in Western folktales, They do not appear as masters of transformation and disguise as in Korea. In Korean folktales, foxes mainly disguise themselves as beautiful women seducing good men. A particularly deadly fox is a nine-tailed fox who can turn into 9 characters. And the dragon, the object of fear in Western folklore, is a symbol of transcendental divinity and authority in Korean and Chinese culture. In Korean folklore, monsters like Western dragons appear in the form of centipedes or a huge snake, and they desperately wish to become dragons who can ascend to the sky. Also, we have dokebi, like Western goblins. Dokebi carries a bat that grants wishes. It is a bat that gives you gold when you order it for gold. When an absurd thing happens, we say, I feel possessed by dokebi. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. Ooh. Now, there's also this question too that we got is, what historical significance does someone unfamiliar with Korean folktales need to know to understand the plot of these stories?
Of course, folktales also have a historical significance. In the past, Korea was a class society divided into nobles, commoners, and slaves. Everyone wanted to rise above the constraints of their status and enjoy prosperous lives. Folktales reflect their desire. Folktales were deeply influenced by Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism. In Korea's old dynasty, to become a bureaucrat, someone had to pass the national exam called 과거 시험. It was a gateway to success and nationwide fame. In folktales, men who try to take for 과거 시험, national exam, go through adventures such as meeting a tiger or a fox disguised as a woman in the deep, deep forest. A man who memorized the Confucian Sutras to pass the exam is usually helped by a wise Buddhist monk when he is caught up in temptation or in danger. And when asking for help from heaven, they turn to the Taoist god, 옥황상제, Sky Emperor. In this way, Korea was a country where Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoism coexisted.
Well, that's wonderful too. Thank you so much. I just love this. I've learned Korean folktales here and there, but it's so much better when we can understand things a little bit more. So I appreciate your answer to that. We also have a question because a lot of us love to work with youth, or we want to make sure that the next generation knows what to do to keep these stories. So the question is, what are ways youth today can appreciate these Korean stories more?
Among folktales, especially interesting and instructive stories were published as books for children and were also animated and aired on television series. I recommend 오새암 and 오늘이 animation that lead you to feel the charm of Korean folktales, you can see them on YouTube.
Okay. And that is helpful because a lot of times the youth connect so much to video. So
Yeah.
just the fact that you say YouTube is like, yeah, of course, it's gonna be on YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, for free.
Well, that's true. Hopefully. If not, someone needs to take care of that, right? I'm putting out a challenge right there. Now, I mean, besides YouTube, what are the best sources to find Korean stories? Now, you did in your presentation share some books that were wonderful. So tell us more about the best resources to find Korean stories.
Yes. There are some books published in English. You can find them on Amazon, just entering Korean folktales. YouTube has a lot of Korean stories too. Enter K-story or Korean folktale and such. There are tons of videos. Among them, you can find some uploaded by the Korea International Storytellers Association, KISA, which I belong. And I will show you some image.
Oh, great.
It's dokebi, Korean goblin. And this is the Korean books, Korean folktale published in English. And this is information. You can find something on YouTube.
Oh, wonderful. I'm sure all of us are gonna be rushing to the library or rushing online and trying to get those items, which will be really great. Now, you brought up definitely about with the tiger and back when tigers smoked cigarettes, right? And so going back to that as well, what are common beginning and ending phrases for Korean folktales? So we did hear a little bit there. What else should we know?
Yeah, as I showed in my presentation, they start with mostly the phrase 옛날 호랑이 담배 먹던 시절에, which means long ago when tigers smoked cigarettes. And they usually end with 아들, 딸 많이 낳고 오래오래 잘 살았습니다, which means they had a lot of children and lived a long, prosperous life. This is because longevity, wealth, and many descendants were the universal hopes of people. And of course, we also have many myths about the original things. So their ending phrases are very similar. For example, which means 수수대가 지금처럼 시뻘개진 거란다, which means that's why the sorghum stalk is now bloody red.
See, now we're getting just the phrases. Now I need the whole story, but I know that's not for now. Well, wonderful. And now, of course, this has been something that people could watch around the world, whether now or later, people can watch this language of story Korean. But I can't help, because Story Crossroads, we are based in the United States. I want to know, is storytelling as an art more popular or less popular in Korea than in the United States, or even compared to other countries? So because we don't want to just focus on the United States, how does it fit?
Before modern times, there was a genre called Panzuri. The solo singer performed the whole drama with songs and gestures and telling a story. Great storyteller. And the accompanist tuned the rhythm with a drum. It has gained considerable popularity. However, as modernization progresses, it is transmitted only as a kind of cultural heritage. Compared to United States or other foreign countries, I should say the art of storytelling is less popular in Korea today.
Mm. Oh dear.
Yeah.
Now what?
No. Yeah. We have to try. Try more.
Right. Though, I mean, as you mentioned in your presentation,
Mhm.
you know, Korean culture is getting really popular. We just need to make sure that it transfers over to stories,
Mhm.
right? So that
Yeah.
it's not all about songs or the TV
Mhm.
shows or
Yeah.
everything else that everyone's into,
Mhm.
that it goes into the stories. But I know you mentioned Kisa. I mean,
Uh-huh.
because of Kisa,
Mhm.
it's coming back again.
Mhm.
And do you mind telling me just a little bit more about Kisa? I mean, because you said you're part of it, of course.
Yeah, I'm a member of KISA.
And for how long have you helped at the Korean International Storytelling Festival?
Mm, four of yeah, 4 or 5 times, I
Nice.
guess.
Yeah. Well, and I know that will help get it more popular. So you said less popular, but I bet it's going to definitely get more popular. So everyone, you need to know
Hopefully.
about Kisa.
Yeah,
but
I wish.
but now once again, you're going with American Korean, though I think this can still adapt worldwide.
Mhm.
Is what do you find to be the biggest difference between American storytellers and Korean storytellers?
Mhm. When telling a story, Americans have large movements and a variety of expressions. Americans look more entertainers than Koreans.
Hmm. I have to admit, yeah, I know I use big gestures and things myself. I know I'm an animated person. I've definitely found storytellers that don't do that, but there's still the intensity.
Mhm.
But I think I see what you're talking about there. I think they really do. We're kind of
Yeah.
big and loud, huh? Oh dear. And but that's fine. I mean, everyone has their way to share, and every culture
Mhm.
and group has that way
Okay.
as well.
Okay.
Uh, but now are the Korean storytelling techniques, are they involving? Is that something that you think the future of Korean storytelling will look like?
Uh, they are evolving constantly. I believe it will gradually expand its base. Yeah. Like United States, story
Right.
crossroads.
Well, good. I like that answer. That's a good one. And now, do you think that Korean storytellers favor a particular genre or
Mhm.
type of story?
Mhm.
I mean, just to give an example, out
Mhm.
here in America, sometimes there's the whole big debate between
Mhm.
personal narrative and
Mhm.
folktale.
Mhm.
And when the American storytelling movement started, there was a lot of traditional tales that were told.
Yeah.
That's boom, 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 every festival.
Yeah.
Then eventually, especially in the last 10 years or so, I would guess, maybe someone out there on the stream will correct me, especially the last 10 years, maybe even since 2000,
Mhm.
there's been an extra push on personal narrative. So I can see
Mhm.
that. And so now sometimes there's debates online about traditional personal narrative. So once again, I'll say the question: do Korean storytellers favor a particular genre or type of story?
Mhm. I think they seem to particularly like stories in which the weak ridicule or satirize the strong. For example, a story of a rabbit mocking a tiger, a commoner mocking a nobleman, a child mocking an adult, and a woman mocking a man. Yeah.
Oh, wonderful. Now I'm seeing in the stream here, I'm going backwards just a little bit. Linda Yamoto said, we had learned to say long, long ago when tigers smoked long pipes. And so Linda's wondering, is cigarettes just a more modern version of that?
Okay, yeah. I think before the cigarette, when the tigers walked like humans, when the people roared like tigers, is used. I think so.
So it sounds like too, like the long pipes, the cigarettes, they can be switched.
Okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Michaela here says, do Korean storytellers primarily tell folk tales, or are original stories popular? So do people like to like make up their own stories, tell the old stories?
I am a writer and I make my own stories, and some storytellers edit or adapt. And yeah. Various level.
So it looks like that's definitely popular, especially when you're publishing, you're sharing things in your own words. And then I've Laura here who's asking, are ghost stories included in Korean folklore? Are they popular in any way?
Ghost stories, yeah. We call ghost 귀신. 귀신 이야기, spooky stories are popular. Yeah. Children, like ghost stories. They feel scared, but they like it, like the kind of ghost stories, but but they love it.
Right. Oh, I think all kids around the world love ghost stories, but you never know. I mean, I know certain cultures, they treat ghosts or death differently. Like some it's more in fun, and some it's you need to be respectful. And is there a certain time of year that ghost stories are told, or is that something that's told year round?
Pardon?
Are ghost stories told throughout the year, like all year, or is there a season or a time that you usually have ghost stories?
I think in cold winter, spooky stories sounds spookier, scarier than any time. So the tension up, and interest up. Yeah.
And I find that fascinating. It seems like many cultures prefer to tell stories in the winter time. Now we're in the middle of our Story Crossroads Summit and Festival. This is something that's available to everyone, but we also have our ticketed Summit and Festival. And within that came out today in the unlisted YouTube playlist is about secrets of medieval storytelling. And so Dr. Bayless talked about how even though stories were told all the time, winter was the most popular. When it was darkest, it was most popular to tell stories, because when there's daytime, when there's light, you can do your work. But when it's night, you kind of are stuck, especially if there's no electricity.
You have the point.
And so that was medieval time, and that's more kind of more European. But then there's another a storyteller that we have with our Summit and Festival, who's with the Ute tribe out here in Utah. And he said, and this is true for many tribes, that wintertime was also the time to tell stories and to tell of certain animals because they were hibernating, and that's when you talk about them, especially the predators. And I see here in the stream, Alicia is saying that there are lots of scary stories in Korea. So, well, especially if you have the tiger. I mean, the tiger already can make you scary, whether or not it's a ghost, right?
Yes.
All right. And then I'm seeing what Laurie is saying here too, is it sounds like American children. So they want to be scared, but not too scared. Now, Michaela wants to know, what is your favorite animal in Korean stories?
My favorite animal? Yeah. My favorite animal? Yeah, I like all of the animals, but but I like, hen or chicken. That's because my birth animal is hen. Yeah, I said, 12 important animals in Oriental thought, which defines the year's character. I was born in the year of the hen. The hen, yeah. Hen is my animal.
Aw. So now I need to find those Korean hen stories. Well, and I want to go back to in how Korean storytelling can happen. So the question is, are other arts incorporated in Korean storytelling, such as costumes, dance, music?
Panzuri is a storytelling performance with costumes, songs, gestures, and drum beats. You can watch some Korean films featuring a Panzuri artist, a great storyteller, as the main character on YouTube. If you enter Chunhyang or Seopyeonjae on YouTube, you can watch the movies for free. They are real masterpieces of Korean cinema history. I strongly recommend them. This is not a classic, authentic Korean dress, but it is this is hanbok style apron.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow, beautiful. I love learning about all these things. I'm seeing that our time, we only have a couple minutes left. And I guess I want to give you a chance if there's anything else you'd like to say that you didn't get a chance to say yet about the language of Korean, about Korean stories.
Yes. Yeah, Korean is not a major language in the world, but it has a long history and a lot of stories. You can enjoy them if you have a little interest in Korea. So books and YouTube can give you a lot of helpful source of Korean stories. Enjoy.
Oh, thank you so much. Now what I just put in the stream, everybody, I put it in twice, but I'm putting it in again. We have permission from Dr. Park to actually have the slides. So if you want to see the visuals of what was shared during this presentation and study them hard, then I put that link in there as a tiny URL. So if you look at the tinyurl.com/LOS, that stands for Language of Story dash Korean dash PDF. So if you find that, you'll be able to see that slides. And then we also encourage you, we do have another free virtual live thing, but instead of being streamed to YouTube, it is going to be in Zoom itself. So not streamed out, but within. And if you go to storycrossroads.org/festival, and you scroll down just a little bit, you'll see about the 2 free events, this one being one of them, and the other one being with Carl Bailing. And we really encourage you to join us for that. But we always also love your feedback, whether or not you plan on joining us for more things. So if nothing else, I'm going to put this in the stream. It should be clickable there for you. Yep, I see that it is. And share your thoughts. Just wonderful. Really appreciate your presentation. Beautiful, beautiful. I just love all that you shared. It's inspiring. And we need to be looking hard for those stories. So hands in the air.
Thank you.
Streams, share your love and everything that way. And I'm going to also show again what's happening this afternoon. And with it, what's exciting is that it is free. And so you can see right here, we have Carl Bailing. He actually has been a storyteller and a teacher for over 30 years at least. So he knows his stuff. So when we talk about storytelling in the classroom, he knows his stuff. Highly recommend it. It's only an hour, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time. So we're UTC -6, if that helps you, depending on where you are. And all you have to do to get the Zoom link, I can't just flash it right here.
To funding from National Endowment for the Arts, National Endowment for the Humanities, Western States Arts Federation, Utah Division of Arts and Museums, Utah Legislature, Utah Humanities, Youth Educators, Storytellers, yes, City of Murray, Zoo, Arts and Parks, ZAP of Salt Lake County, Salt Lake City Arts Council, High Desert Brain Trust, Clever Octopus, the Ashton Family Foundation, and individuals like you. We appreciate the collaboration with the Salt Lake City Library System, Glendale Community Center, and neighboring schools, as well as the Summit Vista Senior Living. Special thanks to our American Sign Language interpreters, videographers, and volunteers. We celebrate the talents of our story artists, youth and adult tellers. Most of all, we appreciate you.
So thank you, everyone. And hopefully you explore storycrossroads.org, share your feedback. And what I'd like to say as well, until we tell again.